Okay, this is Johnny and Sedona, and we're going to go through our warm-up exercises to move the entire horse. Now, our first exercise that he's going to do is going to be, basically, you're going to ask the horse to give their head, which is moving the head and the neck. You're going to reach halfway up the reins. Your horse is going to bring their head all the way to your knee, basically, and get in that pocket. So you should be able to reach forward with your shoulder and reach up, and the horse should give almost immediately. You don't need to put any pressure. And so that is moving the head and the neck. All right, the next exercise that we're going to do is going to be the straight back up. Now we are using a bitless bridle, but the pressure has to be straight from your hands. Hands, keep that line straight, and you're actually going to sit up and roll your shoulder back, and you're going to squeeze your glutes and ask your seat to move, but you want to make sure you keep your lower leg off the horse. So make sure you keep this line straight from what would be the bit, or in this case, the ring. You want to keep it straight to your hand. So keep your hand as straight as possible and out in front. Now to get that motion, you're going to roll back with your shoulder. So sit up straight and roll back and ask for the back. And when you get a step release, you use that intermittent pressure. Keep your hands straight, and you're going to get a nice, easier back. Now, what I want that horse to ultimately do is be able to tuck her nose and engage her whole entire back. There we go. Good. As soon as you see that nose starting to come in, that means you're getting a good back. Now we're going to focus on moving the hindquarters, which is going to move button number 3. So you turn the nose in and you push the hindquarters away. But that outside hand, the hand away from, needs to pull straight back to stop in the motion of going forward. So you're going to look for her to cross over with those back legs. That's not quite a cross. That's not quite a cross. There's a cross. That's not quite a cross. A little bit more, a little bit more. And there's a cross. There we go. So ultimately, you want to go 180 degrees, but as a warm-up, this is where we're going to start. Do on one side, you do on the other, button number 3, and you're looking for that cross. Come on, get the cross. There's a cross. There's a cross. There's a little bit more of a cross. Now keep her going forward, a little bit more. And you know that moving the hindquarters is going to be something that you're going to have to work on if you don't get this exercise the first time. It's one of those things where you have to keep working on it until you get it right. Our final exercise is going to be moving the forequarters. That's going to be button number 1. And for most people, this is the hardest one to do because you basically have to get the horse to sit back on their hindquarters and move their forequarters independently. So it's going to be a crossover with the front 2 legs. So you want to stop forward motion, and we want to use the inside. Now you just turn the hindquarters. Moving the forequarters is the hardest one. You have to use indirect rein, which is on the outside. You want that foot to go this side, so you have to ask button number 1. So there you go, release. You get a little bit of a step each time, and you have to do this in increments. So don't let her go forward. Don't let her go forward. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Ready? And that's a little bit better. But you need to make her, keep her from going forward. Now, a big thing that you're doing, that I know you don't mean to, but is to keep this straight. So as soon as you start turning your hands like this, it changes the whole angle of the rein. So you want to guide with one hand and then open to the other. So it's easier to come to the inside on this exercise. So you want to pick them up, move them back onto the hindquarters, and ask them to step off with the forequarters. This is the most challenging one. So ready, stop forward motion and ask her to come to me. There, you got a crossover step. Good. Did you see that one little crossover step? That's good. This is one that you have to work on, and the more you work on it, the better it'll get. Eventually, you want to be able to do first a 90-degree angle, then 180, and eventually 360. Okay, so ready? Stop forward motion. Ask with your outside, and get that one, oops, one step, one step, one step. That was the step, and release. It helps if you have somebody there, but you know you're going to be able to move the 4/4 that way. Thank you so much for joining us on today's exercises. And if you enjoyed our lesson, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And remember, to see more, check out our playlists.